I'm gonna make a quick update video on this. First of all, I appreciate all the comments and ideas and suggestions and so on so forth. So what I'm probably gonna do on that is go ahead and go get me a piece of that. This is all I had down here, this little piece of bar here, and that's what, 2 foot long maybe. So I got to get something to go all the way through, and then possibly build the extensions down or something. I don't know. I'll have to see. The only problem I saw with that was, if I put this in here and build extensions down and then use it to lift my car up, you've got the possibility of it rocking, you know what I mean? Unless you were to tack it up here or something, and then you got to worry about the tacks breaking. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But I looked underneath. Some guys were talking about my spring perches. Well, on this car, the spring perches are bolted directly into the torque boxes, which the torque boxes are welded to the frame. So the frame's got to come out, the torque boxes got to come out. It's got new torque boxes as well, and those spring perches aren't even under there anymore. However, up front you saw where I have underneath where the pad would come. That would also mean the pad would have to come right up here. So now you've got, what is that, maybe 4 foot. So yes, while it might be heavier up there and it might hold, I still have the whole back end of this car hanging out in the middle of nowhere. Granted, this is probably lighter than that, I'm almost sure of it, but I'm not sure I want to take that chance. I mean, I could try to pick it up there, I guess, and see, but I just don't want it, you know, I don't want it to tip off backwards. I don't want it to rock, any of that kind of stuff. So I'm trying to just do, you know, as safe as possible. Like Russ was telling me by text, he just lost a really good friend to a car falling on him and killing him. And, you know, he didn't know if he had jack stands underneath the car or not. I probably not. But, man, guys, you got to be careful. I mean, we take it for granted every day that, you know, we're going to have tomorrow, and it's not always the case. So, you know, with everything else, you just got to be careful. And this stuff, you know, you think, oh, well, I'll just jack it up real quick and roll under there and do this. And, man, next thing you know, you're not with us anymore. So, you know, I joke about safety third and stuff. I saw that on YouTube one time. But I really do take safety seriously. So, yeah, I'm going to do this the best and safest way as I can do it. Make sure this car does not come down on me at any point, or, you know, or actually have the car damaged because it fell off or something like that. Because I actually, I don't know if you guys remember, I rebuilt this lift because I had a failure on one of my cylinders, and I had my son-in-law, future son-in-law's truck on the lift at the time, and if it wasn't for the safeties, it probably would have dumped the truck. And because it's got the little safety latches that click in. Well, I had kicked my safety latch on this side. My daughter was out here, and I told her, kick that other safety latch, and she didn't know what I was talking about. So the truck just kept dropping and kept dropping. So it was like that, but it actually ended up like that. And you talk about a scary situation. And that truck was his baby. That was that Ford I worked on. But anyway, we got it worked out, and I rebuilt the cylinders and haven't had any issues since. But yeah, if your cylinders in these lifts, if you've got one, and they start bleeding down any at all, it's time to replace them. I didn't really realize that. But I'd come in and my car would just be a little bit lower on one side, and I was like, oh, I wonder what's going on. Well, it was bleeding past those seals in there, and yeah, it finally just gave. And once it gave, it went out. And the good thing was this one was good still. That one was the one that went out. So this held, but this side dropped. So anyway, I'm gonna go into all that, but yeah, just be careful. So you see what I've got here. I'm coming in from the top here and drilling down to take these spot welds out from underneath my frame rails. And the reason I'm doing that, because I really wanted to go underneath and just drill a pilot hole up and then come back in from the top with my little 1/8" pilot hole and come back down through. That way I would make sure I found the exact center of the hole. Because here you're dealing with, oh, you get a little dent like this and you're like, okay, that's not one, but it kind of just giving you I don't have one that I haven't cut out yet, maybe over here. Yeah. Okay, so you've got this big area, this dent. Well, you got to find the center of that, because that's where you're, so this is a big area. Well, your hole, it's going to be somewhere in here, but it would be a lot better, I think, like this one here. Hell, I don't even know, that may not even be one. This one here, that's one. So is it over here or is it over here? Well, to me, it's the deepest point, so it'd be right in there. But that, again, that's a guess. And if you leave any material around it, when you take your chisel, your air chisel, and start air chiseling underneath here, it'll start ripping this. It'll start ripping this out. Well, you don't want to rip because I'm saving this, so I don't want a big hole there. I want it to be a nice hole like that. However, on these, it's kind of a guess. I mean, I think I'm close, but until I start chiseling that off, I won't know for sure. So part of that weld may be still out here to the side a little bit, and it'll grab a hold of this and try to tear it up. So I was wanting to go from underneath, that way I'd know for sure I found the center of those. But the problem is it's hard to see what I'm saying? You can't, it's hard to get under there like that. On this side I can get to, but it's still kind of that hits, and I'd end up going in at an angle, and I've got to get all the way down underneath there. So looks like my best option so far right now is to just keep on trucking down this top and hope that I get there, hope that I get close, and then just work it as I go from underneath with the chisel and see what I can what I can get away with, I guess. But my initial thought was I'm just gonna center punch and drill an 1/8 inch pilot hole through the eye of each one of those, and that way I could come in from the top and know exactly, perfectly where they are. But without some kind of major extension, which I don't think I have for a drill bit, it's not going to happen that way. So this may take me a little bit to get all this going. It's about 3 o'clock, and I need to actually run and get that piece of bar stock, and I've got to do some other little errand stuff. So, but yeah, I've got that whole side still to go, and then we'll look at building something, or just using that bar stock through there and figuring out what to do. Another idea was given to me by Kevin. Run it through here, okay, and just have that bar sticking out here, and then use these, build you something to where you've got a bar that'll come basically out here or up through here, across and out, one or the other. And so now you can lift it here, because you get a bar that's bolted in here, lift it out here, and then lift it back there, so you're closer to being level. It's just higher. And that seems like a pretty good idea. That don't seem like it'd be that hard to just fab up something like that I could just bolt onto there. May have to space it out a bit because of this right here. But that may be an option too. We'll just have to see. I was just, I've already got that bar under there, and I thought, man, I've already got it. Why not use it and just find something back there? But it's just not a whole lot that low to get a hold of right now. So, and especially if you want to go back farther than just this little area up here. So that's my little update for right now, and we'll holler at you later. All right, just got back from the steel shop. They didn't have any drop, so I ended up having to buy a 24-foot stick of this. It's 1/8 inch wall, I think 11th gauge or whatever, and it's 1 inch by 2 inches, because they didn't have 1.5 inches by 2 inches, which is what I took up there, that piece there. So I ended up with 3 8-foot sticks of this, and I think it's going to work fine. I mean, it's just, and I can always use scrap steel. I ended up having to pay $30 for it though, which is fine. Like I said, I've got a pile of steel over there. I'm always making something or framing something up, or stuff that I can use it. Anyway, I think this will work fine. I'm not sure. I may end up using one of the bigger sticks to actually come down. I think once that is set up there like that, it won't roll. It's going to be pretty flat. So that should be pretty good. But we'll have to see. I don't know how much that'll flex. Hopefully not too much. They said that car shouldn't be all that heavy. But we'll just have to see. So I'll bring you back. Alright, it's going to be it for me tonight. I just got back from getting that scrap and got it cleaned up a little bit. I think what I figured out I'm going to do is I'm going to chop a little piece of this off that'll fit over top of this so I can slide it on and off of this bar. That way I don't have to weld it to it, because once I do that I have to cut these welds to get it back off in case I want to use it again. And just dropping a little piece of this off isn't going to be any big deal. So what I'll do is I'll slide it over top of this. I'll weld this pipe to that slip tube or whatever you want to call it, and it'll actually sit up basically like that. And then down there I'm going to make a plate. I got some pretty good scrap metal somewhere. Something like this or whatever that I can sit on the pad, and so this will go basically like that, and I'll tack it on two sides or something, just kind of hold it on there, that way I can pull it back off, because this is not a permanent thing, this is just a temporary little fix. So but yeah, that's what we're looking like there. I'll have it slid in a little closer here, that way when I go underneath the front, come under here, then I'll pick the whole car up. It'll be a little bit more level. So there you go. That's the idea. Several of you had this idea, and I appreciate. So far, that's the best I can come up with. Best you guys, you know. I had one guy that's worried about me coming through here, saying that when I cut the frame rails off that it's going to put a lot of stress on the roof. I don't see that happening, but I could be wrong. I don't see that those frame rails have anything to do with the roof really, but again, I could be wrong. But anyway, so that was the only concern I think about going through those holes there. But yeah, so there you see what I've got. I won't be able to do anything else with this tonight because I've got to go in and take care of the little girl. And so I found this thing. I was going to do a slip basically like that, but I've only got one of these, so I'll just cut a piece of this off and make it. But anyway, yeah, that way I can slide those on and off. So yeah, that's it. I may actually have to do something to kind of crank that down, like run a bolt and run a nut through it or something, and that way it won't slide in and out away from that. I don't know if it would or not. Probably once it's in tension up like that, it's probably not going anywhere. But anyway, either that or I'll clamp it somehow to keep it from sliding out here. Put some kind of some kind of clamp on there or something. Anyway, I cross that bridge when I get to it. So yeah, that's it for today. This video will be way long probably and not a whole lot done, but you'll see where we're thinking about going and taking those rails out. So the next thing I'm going to do, once the rails are broke loose, and push it back, put it up in the air, get under there, cut those rails completely out of that, fit my other rails in, maybe bolt them in a couple places, get them all lined up where they need to be, and we'll kind of go from there. I'm also considering one more thing. when I've got these rails out, and I showed you guys this before, a mini tub in this car. So I actually drew the mini tub thing under here. You may not be able to see that, but it comes out here and comes up here and comes up like that. So that much of the frame has to be notched out for my mini tubs. And then I'll patch it back in with a piece that they gave me. So I was thinking, while I have these mocked up in there where they're going to stay and bolted in or whatever, I could go ahead and take these back off, possibly could go ahead and cut this while it's laying up here on the table, weld all that in and get that done, and not have to do it while it's up in here. So kind of kicking that around right now too, because like I said, I got those are laying over on the floor, so I could just notch those out while they're out, go ahead and weld them while they're down. And the benefit, I think, to doing that is so wherever you notch them out, I don't know exactly where it is because I don't have them set up here, but you notch them out, and then whatever welds penetrates you from the back side, I can go ahead and coat that. Make sure it's coated up real nice, because once it's up in there and I weld that to it, it's going to be a little more difficult to get to it unless you run your wand up through it or whatever. This way, I can literally paint it on with a brush. You know, I can seam seal it. I can do anything I want to while it's out. So, also we've considered boxing this in places to strengthen these even more. So we don't know. Well, we'll see. But yeah, tell me what you guys think about that. All right, see ya.